Hey you guys, welcome to Art Camp. Today we're going to do these really beautiful peacocks, and they look like they're painted, and they are, but we're going to do something called a marker painting. I don't do marker paintings very often, but this one looks really good as a marker painting, so that's what we're going to do, okay? So you're going to get a paper today that looks like this, or you've already gotten it. You need to write your name on the back in pencil. You guys are going to be drawing in pencil. And I'm going to be drawing in Sharpie so you can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to trace in Sharpie as well, okay? So you have this on your paper to start with, all right? I gave you the head just to get you going. And then I gave you the top of the eye so that we can draw the eye a little easier. So why don't we start with that? Let's start with the eye. So you've got the big top of the eye. Now, if you want the eye closed, that's fine. You can give it a closed eye. But I'm going to give mine the bottom of the eye like this, where it's just a line that comes down. And then I'm going to draw the inside of the eye right here and make it nice and big. I want it to be nice and big. We're exaggerating the size so it stands out. And then I gave mine two highlights with two little circles like this. You could like do a little heart or something in the eye if you want to. And then I filled it in with Sharpie, but you guys will fill that in later when you get your Sharpie. Don't fill it in right now. I also gave my peacock long eyelashes. You do not have to do that. And I put little dots at the end. You do not have to do that. Okay, the other thing we're going to do on the head is we're going to draw a line for the center of the beak. And then peacocks have these lines that go around their heads like this. So I did those two as well. And then at the top of their head, they have these little feathers. I like to show those. It's called their crown, with lines like this, kind of like what I did here with the eyelashes, just bigger. You can do more of these, okay? Or you could do something different. You could do a little heart on top. You could do like a little swirly up there. That's fine. Okay, so now we're gonna draw the body. We're going to draw two lines down like this. And then we're going to draw the base of where the feathers go. That's usually green. And the feathers kind of grow into the space. It's almost like you're drawing flower petals around the body. Like just these clouds. Like that. Okay, so now we're going to draw some little details inside of these. I did circles on this one. You could do little hearts, you could do little stars. On this one, I think I'm going to do swirlies like this. Whatever you want to do, draw those. And then for my texture here, I did a little loop-de-loop line. You don't really have to do anything. You could also do like a feather texture, but make it big. Whatever you do, you have to trace in Sharpie, right? So you don't want it to be super, super tiny. Because then you have to trace it all. So let's do, I'm gonna do that loop-de line again. But you don't have to do that. You could do feathers, you could just leave it. You don't have to do any kind of texture in here. All right, now we're gonna do our feathers. The tail feathers are what make peacocks so interesting to look at. And they have these shapes on them called the eye of the feather, okay? And what you do is, I've got a little stencil for you. And again, you guys are gonna trace these in pencil. and then you're gonna trace them in Sharpie. So you have these little stencils and you put them around it like sun rays coming out. So you start with these. I'm gonna do 1, 2, I'm gonna do one right here. It's gonna be kind of going off the picture, and that's okay. See how it kind of goes off the picture there? And then I'm gonna put one right here that's really going off the picture, and that's okay. Okay. And then what you'll do is you'll come back in and you'll draw the inside line, which are called the eyes, the peacock feathers. And then you draw these lines right here that come out like this. Now, once you're done with that, I want you to stop what you're doing and trace everything in Sharpie, and then the rest of it we're gonna finish in Sharpie, so that way you don't have to double draw all these. See all these little feather lines out here? I don't want you to have to draw them in pencil and then trace them in Sharpie. So trace all this in Sharpie, and then come back and I'll show you how to do all of these little feather lines and stuff, okay? Okay, so we're ready to do the feather lines. So I started with these, and then I added down here at the bottom a couple more. My hand hit the chair. Okay, and all you do is you kind of make your feathers come around like this. And they don't have to be perfect. They're just lines that come out. And I just didn't want you to have to retrace all of these, because we're gonna do them in marker too. And that's a lot. So they kind of come around the eye and out like this. And if you have a blank spot and you want to fill it in, you can do that. Around the eye and then kind of out. And then these that don't have an eye, they just kind of come out like that. Okay? All right, so once you're done with that, I'm going to show you the next steps with your markers. Okay, you guys, we're going to use our markers, and we're going to do a marker painting. Now, the first part is just adding marker into our picture, but we don't want to color the whole thing in, okay? To make it look like a watercolor and give it that kind of watercolor effect, you don't really fill the whole thing in. You kind of outline it again. So you know how we outlined it in Sharpie? Now we're going to outline it again. I know you guys are going to be so mad at me. Peacocks tend to be blue with purples and greens, and you can choose your greens, but on this one, like I'm going to use this light green. And see how what I was saying about outlining? So I'm just coming around here, but I'm giving it a big thick outline. Okay, you don't want to do like a really skinny outline, because that doesn't give you enough color to spread around. And then I'm going to do a line here. Okay, so the base of their tail, where their feathers grow into, is green. So I'm doing a thick green outline, okay? In here I did some orange when I did these circles, so you could color these in a color that you want them to be, and that's fine. I think I'm just gonna let mine be a line, but I think I might come back in with this darker green and do a little bit of that. That might look kind of cool. We'll see when I add my water. So the way this turns into a painting is because this is on watercolor paper. When we add water to it, it's going to turn into paint. But you don't want to fill things in, because that will take forever, and then you won't get to do the cool marker painting. You have to use a Crayola marker. Ooh, this blue is not working very good. So if you get a blue that's not working very good, or another color, just let me know. I brought 3 sets with me in case that happened. This one's working a lot better. Okay, so I'm just gonna outline these. And they don't have to be perfectly on the same line. You see they're not. And I'm gonna draw a line down here. Okay, so in the head, I'm gonna do a little bit of blue right there. And then I'm gonna have some purple. Peacocks really aren't like purple, but that's okay. Okay, you see how this is going? So you just start adding lines. This will color yellow. And then let me show you the feathers. So on these eyes, I did purple. You could do different colors, but I did purple, and then I did blue here. Like this. And then I came and did these feathers with blues and greens. So what I did was I did all of these blues like this. of these greens like this. And they don't meet up and they don't match, and that's fine, okay? So you're gonna do your colors like this. You're just using lines for color right now. And then once you're done with that, I'll come back and show you how to add your water to it. They're gonna be really pretty. Okay, so this should be what it looks like when you're done. I did fill in my yellow beak a little bit more than what it was. So I'm gonna start with the beak, because just like painting, when you paint something in, you're gonna have a water cup and a paintbrush, right? When you paint something in that's like yellow and then you try to rinse off your brush, or like if you've done a darker color and then you rinse off your brush, it gets into the color. So the reason this works is because this is on watercolor paper. And so you still want to be careful and do kind of like each section on its own. But the lines are still gonna show dark, and then the color is gonna kind of blend out and look like watercolor. So I'm still getting water on my brush and rinsing it between colors or sections. But then you just kind of very lightly, you don't want a ton of water. It's just a little bit of water. Now I'm gonna rinse my brush and do this middle section, you'll see. And some of this green is gonna come in. You see where the green is coming in? That's okay. Watercolor does that. That's part of watercolor. That's okay if they kind of mix together and blend a little bit. It's gonna look really pretty. And that is how you do a watercolor painting, or a marker painting. So I'm just getting a little bit of water and doing this section, and a little bit of water and doing this section. And look, I got a little spot right there. That's okay. I'll just come around and do spots all around it. And then up here, I'm gonna get a little bit of water. And a little bit of water here. And again, this works really well because it's watercolor paper, but it doesn't work as well when it's not. Now with the feathers, you just kind of go the direction they're going. You don't want to go back and forth. Like I wouldn't want to take water and just spread it everywhere all over the painting, right? You kind of want to go with the direction that your lines are going and do each section at a time, but it's going to look really cool and really pretty. All right, so there's one feather done. Okay, so you're just gonna finish up with your watercolor details. And remember, it doesn't take a ton of water, so you can even just kind of wipe some of the paint off of your paintbrush like that. And then just do a little bit here. And then rinse your brush and kind of wipe some off. You don't want it to be totally dry. You will have paper towels, but you don't want it to be totally dry. And then I did use a little more water on the feathers out here, just so they blended a little bit more, okay? So that's how we're gonna do our marker paintings, and they're gonna be beautiful. I can't wait to see them.